All right, here we are again. We are live and coming to you from Frank and Tony's, not the patio because it's a little bit wet out there. Thanks for bearing with us with the rain delay, but I myself am Phillip McCrevice, and I am joined by Princess D.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going? How is the studying going for you?
Oh man, I'm done. I'm so glad to be done. I couldn't tell you much that I did last week besides just reviewing stuff. It was kind of a fever dream.
Fever dream, absolutely.
I took 3 hours to do a test, and I had a headache for 3 days. So
3 days?
Yeah, it's okay. I'll be okay.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, you got through it, so I'm going to give you a little round of applause here.
Thank you. 1 year down, 2 to go.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Well, I got a question for you.
What's up?
How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Quite frequently, actually.
Quite frequently. Well, Mercury is the Roman god of tricksters. We're goofballs, degenerates, and not that drunkomaniacs. Miss an episode, and you'll be square. Tune in weekly. I said it backwards again.
Miss an episode, don't you dare.
Don't you dare. Well, we missed you dearly last week, and so we decided, let's start off the episode strong. Let's start out with Princess D front and center.
Oh, thanks.
I've been showing the episodes to a couple of friends. They're like, you know what? You need to get some more Princess D on the episode. Make sure she comes in, get some time. So your adoring fans hopefully are watching out.
Well, thank you.
In the Willoughby area and around the world.
All right, I'll take it.
So we're doing something a little bit different this week. I like to mix it up. So we're doing a show about anti-heroes.
Yeah.
And I've actually kept all the co-hosts in the dark about what the actual anti-heroes we're going to be talking about are. So we're doing a little bit of intrigue here. And hopefully the external speaker we have pumping out to the crowd over there is working. But to start it off, we got a little bit of an intro here. First and foremost, happy Cinco de Mayo, or
Olé!
should I call it Cinco de Drinko?
Which means 5 of drinks in Spanish, kind of.
That's right.
Or beber is to drink, but...
I did not take Spanish in high school. I do know how to order a beer, más cerveza, por favor.
Muy bien. All you need to know.
Absolutely. But to jump right into it here, the show's about anti-heroes. What is an anti-hero? And how does it differ from a villain?
Yeah. So the definition that I kind of got from it was it's like a person who's kind of like morally gray, kind of maybe done some sketchy things, but they still end up like doing some stuff for the good guys.
That's right. I feel like anti-hero is kind of like a hero, but the flip side of the coin, whereas a villain is just one-dimensionally bad.
Yeah.
So a villain doesn't really have any redeeming characteristics, whereas an anti-hero might do bad things for good reasons. Or they might do bad things that are for their moral code, even though it doesn't quite align with the moral code of what a hero might be.
Mm-hmm.
So I have written down here, flip side of a hero can't do good, but in a gritty way.
Yep.
Not like the boring heroes that are very predictable. And the villains, they're just one-dimensional, so we have nuance, ambiguity, conflict, and maybe there's some regrets here. Can be good, evil, or 50 shades of gray in between.
Yeah.
Now, do any characters or maybe any personalities in the real world jump out to you as exemplifying an anti-hero?
Well, we were talking about this actually on the way in. Have you seen the show Dexter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like kind of your like classic anti-hero. Like he's a serial killer, but he only kills bad guys.
Oh, you're not talking about the cartoon Dexter?
Oh no,
No,
yeah.
that's Dexter's Laboratory.
Yeah, Dexter's Laboratory. I don't know. Is he an anti-hero, though? I haven't seen that show in too long.
That's a good question, but that might be a question for another day, because Dexter is one that very much exemplifies the anti-hero persona.
Yeah.
That's actually what we're going to be doing on the show today, is we're going to be figuring out who exemplifies the moniker of anti-hero with the most aplomb and grace.
Yeah. You know who else I thought of, like, the other day was Snape from Harry Potter?
I am so glad you said that, because that actually is your topic.
Oh, hell yeah.
So since you brought that up, we might as well jump right into this here.
Oh, okay.
The segment for myself and you, and by the way, we're going to be doing all duos today, so we're going to be kind of switching off and just doing one-on-ones. But right now we have Severous Snape versus Tyrion Lannister. So, yeah, we got, two, pillars of the fantasy industry, we got Harry Potter versus Game of Thrones, and I myself am a Game of Thrones super nerd.
There you go.
So I was
There's the game.
hoping that you're on Team Harry Potter. So
Yeah, I'm a Potterhead. I mean, with the exception of like everything that like J.K. Rowling has like said and done.
Oh, right.
Separate her from all of that, but like the Harry Potter, all of that, like in and of itself, I guess. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we got a comment coming in here. We got Dougie Fresh saying hello. Hey, Dougie Fresh, what's going on?
Hey.
And who do you think's the bigger anti-hero between Severous Snape and Tyrion Lannister?
Well, let's break it down. So, starting with Severous Snape.
Yeah, of course.
So, his backstory. So he started off, he was a Slytherin.
That sounds bad.
I know. But are Slytherins actually that bad, though?
I assume that they were kind of like the villain of the Harry Potter universe.
They kind of are. But in and of themselves, they're not. They just have kind of characteristics that tend to turn them more towards villains. And so, is Slytherin itself an anti-hero?
Well, I'm going to say something a little villainous right now.
Go
I have never read nor watched the movies of Harry Potter.
Really?
Really. My sister was such an incredible Harry Potter fan that it just like turned me off the whole thing. Because she read every book over and over again. When every movie came out, she read all the books again, the whole series. So I'm just like, I'm not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole.
It's good stuff. I love it.
So I was, being uninitiated, I would assume that the Slytherin would be the ones that were worshiping the Dark Lord, who shall not be named.
So yeah, they kind of, so like the four houses are like kind of different personality types.
Okay.
And like one of the things about the Slytherins, like their personality, it's like, they're kind of like cunning and like smart, quick-witted, which in and of itself isn't that bad. They're also ambitious, which again, in and of themselves, not that bad. But those are kind of qualities that can very quickly like take a left turn. And so yeah, a lot of the villains in the Harry Potter world are from Slytherin because they're ambitious, pretty intelligent people.
So you're saying that they get a bad rap. They're not quite elevated to the level of villain status. They're more. Is Slytherin in a whole? Are you talking about like they're in the realm of anti-hero, or just Severus Snape in specific? Because I actually do know a little bit about the backstory, and spoiler alert, we're probably gonna have to talk about the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, if you haven't read it,
tune out for a sec.
Oh, keep tuning in.
Tuning in.
We'll save you some time.
Yeah. That's fair. Fair enough.
Yeah,
so spoiler alert, we're not stopping.
Yeah, because Snape, like, wasn't he like in love with Harry Potter's mom?
Yeah.
And it was like a very sad story. That's why he was like kind of like acting like a dick to Harry the whole time, because he's like trying to make sure he's staying on the right path and like watching out for him, like kind of being like kind of stern, but also like in the end like does like a big sacrifice. Is that right?
Yeah. And like the big line in the movie, this was like what kick-started me talking about Harry Potter or thinking about it this whole weekend, was somebody like made a reference, after all this time, always. Because that's the thing, was he confessed, he confessed that he always, like, even after all those years, he still loved Harry's mom.
Right. So sweet. Now looking back in retrospect, was there a time when, we're talking about, like, he was actually, like, kind of good the whole time because he's looking out for Harry? Did he do some things that were actually, in retrospect, kind of a little bit over the edge, a little bit crossing the line, like, made you wonder, like, is this guy really a bad guy?
Oh, yeah, he was kind of batting for both teams.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If I remember correctly, he actually was a Death Eater, which was, like, one of the people who worked for the Dark Lord.
Death Eater. Sounds like he's very hungry.
Yeah, very hungry. It all went to the nose, though.
Okay, so I haven't seen this, so now I don't know if you're telling the truth or you're joking.
I'm joking.
All right, so the Death Eater, like, I'm guessing they don't literally eat people, like, they're just like, that's a cool name for a bad guy?
That's their cool name for the bad guy. They kind of like they're doing this guy's dirty work. They're killing all the people he tells them to kill. It's almost like Charles Manson and his, like, family, but, like, in the wizarding world.
Ah, okay, because actually I did see a clip. I'm operating off, like, this much information, right? But I did see a clip where it was Snape versus, like, an old lady with, like, some powers, and he was, like, shooting some spells at her.
Yeah.
And she was, like, No, I'm sorry. She was shooting spells at him, and he was like deflecting them, and he was like neutralizing all the Death Eaters in the room. But everyone's like, "Oh, cool! It's like a big fight." But they didn't realize that he like basically team killed his whole team, and then just like yeeted it out of there.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with this?
That sounds familiar. I haven't seen the movies or read the books in a while, but that does sound familiar. The other big thing that he did was, so the Dark Lord comes back in the series, and he's pretending to be on this guy's side.
Sorry, just got a comment here, and the comment just says in all caps, "Hunter's ass crack." So I'm guessing we're getting a little plumber's crack in the background here. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but that's hilarious. I'm sorry. So anyway,
no, that's okay.
Go on.
When the Dark Lord comes back, he's like pretending to be on this guy's side. So he ends up making a pact with Dumbledore, who's like the main good guy.
Okay, I know Dumbledore, good guy.
Yeah.
So I do not disturb. For some reason, my watch was ringing.
Uh-oh.
We're getting someone phoning into the show.
All right, who's calling?
It was fucking spam.
Oh, okay. Do they have
I do not disturb, and my watch was ringing. I'm like, what the fuck?
Do they have an opinion on Severous Snape versus Tyrion Lannister?
Yeah.
Did the caller have an opinion on Severous Snape versus Tyrion Lannister?
No, it was a fucking spam 800 number.
Ah.
Lame.
I live in Texas. How may I help you?
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, they seem very distracted.
That's okay. It's fine.
All right, so he said that he who shall not be named came back and he was incognito.
Kind of, yeah. So he's he's hiding, and so Snape is like, "Oh yes, like of course, like I serve you," and so he makes a pact with Dumbledore that we don't know about till later.
Oh, secret alliance. Okay.
Kind of. So basically, it was like they wanted Draco Malfoy, who was like kind of like Harry Potter's like enemy throughout the series. Who was actually
rivals. Okay.
yeah, who was actually a Slytherin. Draco was a Slytherin.
Oh, that's the blonde-haired kid.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Draco's father was a huge follower of He Who Must Not Be Named. And so he's trying to get Draco into following this guy. And Draco's at first kind of like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then they tell him to fully be initiated and trustworthy, he has to kill Dumbledore.
Hey, that's not very nice.
No, it's not a good time. So the leader of this illustrious school, and essentially the full fight for good. And so Snape tells Dumbledore this, and so they make a pact that Snape has to kill Dumbledore before Draco does.
Wait, that doesn't sound like a good pact. So he's got to do the bad thing before the bad guy does the bad thing?
Pretty much.
I'm very confused.
It's weird.
Huh.
Like I said, I haven't seen the movies or read the books in a while, so
he's kind of like playing both sides.
yeah,
like,
he's playing both sides.
nobody knows where his allegiances lie. So yeah, basically that's the main point of this whole episode. Is like I feel like the anti-hero is way more interesting because like you got like Superman. He's like he's always going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always going to fight for good. Everybody loves that. But like it's way more interesting. Like what are they going to do? There's some intrigue. There's like shifting alliances and like. Can you really trust them or not? And then, like, at the end, the big reveal.
Like, I thought, while I was reading the books, like, oh, this guy's going to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And then you watch later through the movies, and it's like, you know what? He's a little gray, but, like, he has a pretty good sacrifice in the end.
Yep. Oh, boy. All right, well, we got a comment coming in here that says chug it, so.
Chug it.
Do you have, while I do this a little bit of a chugging, do you have any thoughts about Tyrion Lannister? And then I'll get into it.
So go ahead and get into it, because fun fact, I've like only seen bits and pieces of Game of Thrones. So,
I can't do it.
Oh no! So that we can kind of be like teaching each other here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you haven't seen Harry Potter, I haven't seen Game of Thrones. I do know some stuff about it.
Yeah.
So enough to understand, but like, yeah.
Okay, I have a couple notes here.
Do it.
The first note is I hope you like Harry Potter.
Yes.
So we checked that one off. If not, then we're going to have a little bit of trouble.
Like, oh no, sit here on Google. I am a Hufflepuff house, if anybody is like wondering.
Oh, okay, that's the sorting hat, right?
That is the sorting hat.
All right, so the notes I have for Tyrion is Tyrion is a baller. That's the first note.
That's an important note.
So it's Peter Dinklage. He's played, by little person, imp, midget. I'm not sure
so that
what
guy
we're
right
supposed to call
there.
him. Yep, there he is.
Oh, okay.
Peter Dinklage. Excuse me for 1 second. I need to burp.
Yes.
Okay,
Good
there we
job.
go.
Peter Dinklage has a pretty cool side note. Like, he has a really cool, like, acting story and, backstory.
Actually, I don't know his backstory. I just know his front story. I know, like, when he was on Game of Thrones, and then after that, he was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I didn't know how he got his start.
Mm-hmm.
How's that?
So he was, like, he did a lot of theater in Great Britain, and then just kind of got discovered from there. But, like, he was kind of, like, put down a lot just because of, how he looks.
Right.
But everybody, like, all throughout was like, oh, he was the funniest guy. And so it's just kind of like a cool story. Like, oh, like, he made it.
Yeah, it's very hard to make it, especially, overcoming all those obstacles. It was kind of a tall order.
That's a knee slapper.
Let's see, we got a button for that.
Yeah.
I found a new button, ladies and gentlemen. But as you may know, I think we talked about this before, I am writing some Game of Thrones fan fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going through and I was trying to kind of dissect, how did George R. R. Martin do this? How did he come up with his character names? How did he come up with all these character arcs? And one of the things I noticed is this naming convention. So Tyrion's father is Tywin, right? So how do you come up with the name Tywin? Well, he's a tyrant and he's a winner. Tywin. Bam. Done.
Okay.
You're like, okay, well, how do you come up with the name for Tyrion? Well, he's very much like his dad, even though his dad does not see him eye to eye. Another short joke. But he's the most like his father, so that's why he got the TY prefix. Again, like tyrant. Whereas Tywin's other children don't have names that are like his own. So even though he hated Tyrion the most, he still gave him the naming convention, the TY at the start. And George R. R. Martin, the author, gave him the TY as tyrannical as well. Because he has a lot of the same instincts and the same behaviors as his father.
Yeah.
But then how do you get Tyrion? So Tyrion. Well, the house sigil for the Lannisters is the lion. So they take the TY for tyrannical, they add lion, and then switch one letter.
No shit.
And so I'm just guessing at this point, but I'm just trying to decode. It's not been confirmed, but that's my opinion of how he came up with the names.
That sounds pretty cool, though. Well,
So-
even if it's not, though, that's a pretty cool analysis you did, though.
Yeah.
On your own.
Right.
Right on.
Yeah, so I went through, I did several thousand words of analysis on this type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Even before I started the actual writing. So that's why, Tyrion's a very cool character. I feel like there's been, scores of videos and scores of, essays written about him, so I don't need to, dip in, too much about all the nitty-gritty, but that's, kind of a couple of cool things that I had. He's one of the smartest Game of Thrones characters until the showrunners, Dan and Dave, ran out of material, and they didn't know what to do with him. But he actually is even smarter in the books.
No kidding.
Yeah, because in the show, they started taking a lot of shortcuts.
Yeah, I mean, you only have so much that you can do with cinematography.
Yeah, so they started simplifying things. So at the start of the show, he's kind of like a boozer, a loser, a degenerate, and a womanizer. And you're like, you don't think that much of this guy. Like, okay, he looks different than us. So in the show and in the story, they take advantage of that. Like, he looks different than us, so we're supposed to think less of him. But over time, you start to come to realize that this guy's on the bad team because Lannisters are bad. And Lannisters are going against our heroes, which are the Starks. And so you think, all right, this guy's a bad guy. He's doing all these, bad guy things. Then you come to realize later that his relationship with his family is very tumultuous. And they all just, kind of look down on him, and they all, treat him really bad. And you're starting to feel for him. You're like, okay, well, this guy's on, Romeo and Juliet, right? This guy's on the bad side, so I'm supposed to hate him. But, I kind of identify with him a little bit because, what are you supposed to do when you're in that situation?
He's relatable.
Yeah, and then, as time goes on, you realize, he's not able to, physically command armies or anything like that, but he is one of the smartest people in the show, and he's, outwitting everybody. So, in the first season of the show, spoiler alert, our good guys go down to the Capitol, and some bad things happen. I won't tell you exactly what, because that would ruin the show, in the book. But then in subsequent seasons, Tyrion is tasked to go down to the Capitol and just basically figure it out, bro. Because he meets his dad for the first time in the story. His dad's like kind of a dick. Then later on, he's like, "All right, everybody clear the room. Just me and my son are gonna talk." Like, oh man, what's this guy gonna do? He's gonna rip him a new one. He's like, "You go down to King's Landing and you rule in my stead. You like make sure everything's taken care of, and you make sure the king is like not doing dumb stuff." And it's like, whoa, okay, big reveal, and that's just like the first of many twists. So, Tyrion definitely one of my favorite characters in the show until about season 5, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first 3 books were the first 4 seasons.
Got you.
And so the showrunners for the first 3 books, they followed it essentially.
Sure.
For the first 4 seasons. And then after that, when it came to book 4, they started ignoring a lot of things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like one of the biggest ones, how do I tell you this without being a spoiler alert? There's a monumentous event that happens at the end of book 3 involving Tyrion. And it's like a big cliffhanger, because then you're like, what happens afterwards? Because they don't talk about him at all in book 4.
Oh, no.
And book 4 came out several years after book 3. So the whole time you're like, where's Tyrion? What happened to him? It's like this huge mystery. And the characters in the story are trying to find him, trying to figure out what happened. And then he doesn't come back around until book 5. So there's like a 12-year wait in between in real life.
Oh, my gosh.
So people are just like, what happened to this guy? What happened to this guy?
That would drive me nuts.
See, that's how you do it. That's how you build up some intrigue. But in the show, unfortunately, they had the same scene, pretty much exactly the same. And the very next scene, they revealed what happened to him. I'm like, you ruined it. Like, you made people wait 12 years in real life for the next book, and then, like, in the show, it's like, oh, yeah, he's doing this.
Maybe they figured that the people had waited long enough. I don't know.
I think they realized that people didn't have, like, the attention span.
That, too.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't think I spoiled it. I think I did okay.
Yeah, you did great. I cannot tell you, like, what happened.
Right. So here's a suggestion for you if you like watching shows and you like reading books.
I love reading books.
Watch the first 4 seasons.
Okay.
And then stop.
Okay.
And don't watch anymore.
Okay.
And then read book 4 and 5.
Perfect. That works for me.
If you do all that, maybe eventually the author will come out with book 6.
Oh, so I'm what it takes for like book 6 to happen?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so then I need to do this so book 6 can happen. Okay.
All right. Well, we're calling the Peanut Gallery here if you guys are listening. We'll bring Scott in.
All right.
All right, so now that we had our discussion, what do you think? Last words on Snape versus Tyrion Lannister.
After all this time.
After all this time, always. I got to give it to you. That is very heartwarming. Maybe I'm going to go on your side of the fence here. I'm going to agree with you, and we'll bring Scott in for the next topic.
All right, what are we talking about?
It's a surprise. I'll let him tell you.
Okay.
All right, can you reach? All right.
You good?
Hey, hey.
What's up, Scotty?
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. Hey.
Finals went all right, everything, eh?
I think so. I know how I did on one of them. We'll find out about the other one.
All right, I'm sure you did fine.
Thank you.
Fine. All right, what are we up to?
So we're talking about anti-heroes today.
Uh-huh.
So, do you know which anti-hero I'm talking about and you're talking about right now?
No. Which one are you guys on? What are you on?
Let's see.
He's
our assignment.
Sxe Pistols.
And I got Taylor Swift.
Where's Taylor Swift? Or any other punk rock band?
That's a good conversation, actually. Like punk rock as an anti-hero in music world in general. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, punk rock, it had like a distinct sound to it. You know, people loved it. Like, you know, a lot of the punk rockers were wasted beyond repair. So, I mean, yeah, a lot of the songs were very good. They got them recorded good, but when they played live, it was just, you know, a lot of gibberish and garbage sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and then Taylor Swift, you know, she's a class act.
Here's the thing, like, I am not actually a Swiftie myself, but it's like, I don't have a problem with her. It's just like her type of music is not what I usually get into. But I think you're right. Like, she's very classy. Like, she's also, like, a big philanthropist.
Yep.
Like, everywhere she
very
tours.
Professional. You know, got a good market, good fan base. And most of the people that go to the punk rock shows and all that, there's a lot of them, I mean, Lemonheads, all of these people are, just freaking wastoids. And, I'm sure it was a good time in their mind, but, it was, I don't know, I wasn't there, but,
I think I've been, believe it or not, I've been to a couple punk shows. And, like, you're right. Like, most of the singers, like, I can't tell what they're doing. Like, they're probably on something.
For sure.
But, like, the lyrics I have heard, like, some of it, like, it's interesting. Like, they're kind of calling out, like, a lot of stuff in society that, like, kind of needs fixing.
Yeah, which is true. And those are, like, a lot of that is like, you're in the studio, so you can control it and work it better and get your message out and make the song sound, like, more professional, stuff like that. But, then you throw them out on the stage live, and, a lot of those shows are just like, geez, gibberish or just mayhem, which some people like. But, when you go to the Swift shows, you can just see that's like big sellout crowds, tons of interaction, money going to good things and that,
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
Were you a Sxe Pistols listener when they were?
They were all right.
Yeah.
Not that big of a fan. Trying to think of that era, like what was like one of my favorite punk bands. Dead Milkman, the Bullocks, Lemonheads. All of them had some decent tunes, but I that was like an era where I kind of didn't get to see much of that live. I get just like clippets of it. And then when I was at punk shows, it was just like all chaos. You couldn't pay attention, it was just gibberish basically.
Could that be, like, do you think that might be what makes them anti-heroes? Like, they're kind of, like, calling out stuff in society, while also kind of, like, being a little messy in the process?
Yeah, they definitely had a niche. There wasn't, like hair metal, I guess you could call it, hard rock, pop rock, dance rock, rap, and they definitely had a good niche, and it was a good underground scene and stuff, but those are like what I compare it to more like, Jimmy Buffett, Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
They sit up there and play, and it's just like, what the fuck is this? But it's still a good party, and it's good fun and stuff. But some of them are a lot of weirdos.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Really, just a lot of weird people, and like the Misfits. The band, the Misfits, and they were like kind of like misfits.
Kind of, so it's almost like they're kind of finding each other. Like, they're an anti-hero almost in that way. Like, they're finding their space. Yeah,
and I played with a few people like that, punk rock. Like Roots and stuff. They're pretty flighty.
Really?
They're pretty flighty. If they're into it, they're into it. If they're mad at something, everybody's got to be mad, or it's weird. Yeah. Now that's not like indicative to the whole population and genre. Everybody's allowed to have a bad day, but it's sometimes can be very difficult to work with them, or very easy. A lot of fun, very easy. So it could go one way or the other. Whereas someone like Swift is more probably like, that's a regimented and thing and that. I could see like skipping ahead. That was like my favorite. I was going to talk about that and stuff, but I know Ryan might be a little bit busy and all that. So like as far as like you, what would you like? What is like some of like in general your favorite anti-heroes or the ones you enjoyed the most?
Yeah. So I kind of like, and I've had some people disagree with me on this one, but like I kind of see Hannibal Lecter from The Silence of the Lambs as an anti-hero.
I love that too.
Because I mean, he's this.
Right.
He's a psychiatrist by training, which you're trying to help people, but he's a cannibal. He eats people.
Yeah, and he actually did, and he had some of the being co-workers. He had them over for dinner and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. He had an old friend for dinner.
He had an old friend for dinner, and like and then he was the people in the cells and stuff. He he choked on his own tongue. I was just like, oh, that is kind of an anti-hero, but he helped Clarice all the crying.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, his tastes were a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah, and it was like that one inmate swallowed his tongue after he disrespected Clarice in his presence.
Right, he'll find the governor's daughter, and then what a magnificent escape he did.
Amazing.
That was just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, like I seen that movie, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, wow.
It's one of my favorite
I'll
movies.
root for the bad guy. That was one. I was like, geez, that's a good bad guy.
Yeah.
And he'll capture a Buffalo Bill over there, right?
But that's it. She paid attention to him, and he led her right there.
Uh-huh. That was good. That's a really good
That's
one.
a great movie.
Like, and then, like, going back to my dad, I don't know if you remember far back, like, like sometimes Predator, that was pretty cool. And then RoboCop, that was another one. I'm here to do justice. And you're like, well, you're taking it overboard. And he's like, the law says. And I was like, well, you created the monster. Now you live with it.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. When I look back. But I know we're going to get into the other one there. But these are like some of my top two. I figured they would figure out, but that one right there.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Oh, that's one of my favorite shows of all time. Like,
I know.
oh.
And then Better Call Saul. Well, we'll just let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
That he was like the spin-off of it. And that Mike character, I just love that Mike guy. Mike just packed his thing to lunch. And, what a great stuff.
Do you think Saul is kind of an anti-hero too?
Yeah,
like in
absolutely.
all of that?
Yeah, he helped a lot of people and did some nice things. And you've seen the whole series, right? Kind of.
Yeah, and then Better Call Saul, I kind of saw like on and off, but like I know enough about
Yeah,
it.
and he was like when you were ripping off his sandpaper account or something, and the old lady, he was just like, you know what, screw this. I'm not gonna cheat this old lady out of all of her friends. And, he just made himself look like the bomb and stuff. You know what I mean? And it was like, that's good stuff. And then he would go into character. He'd go into Slippin' Jimmy, and then, Kim, his girl he was with, was trying to like just do the good thing. It was actually in love with him, and then she would just revert, going back to have fun. Just conning people, and it's sad, but it was funny. And
Yeah.
I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
It was good.
Enjoyed it.
What about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Jack Nicholson's character in that one?
That was pretty good. I enjoyed that one.
I like that one too. Jack Nicholson, I think, plays a very good anti-hero and also just villain in general.
Gee, good actor.
Great actor.
Like it was that Goodfellas. It was like, he's talking about Jimmy Conway, and he's the type of guy that reached for the bad guys in the movie and stuff, But I was like, kind of like to relate to that.
Yeah?
I grew up on a lot of westerns and stuff, so like,
Okay.
Clint Eastwood, the Outlaw, Josie Wales, you know what I mean? He was just, I'm not giving up on my southern heritage. They killed my family. I'm not quitting. And he would go around and just help people, and, everybody's gunning for him. I'm like, it's just amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So.
What was your favorite western?
Well, it's either movie or TV series. I think TV series, I'd have to go with Gunsmoke.
I watched Gunsmoke.
Oh my God, they like so long running.
Yeah.
Some of the side characters on that are just tremendous. Tremendous. And then like this series like Bonanza.
I did watch Bonanza too.
As far as like movies, it's like like a lot of what Clint Eastwood did. That was just phenomenal. Like I mentioned, Outlaw, Josie Wales, The Unforgiven.
Yeah.
That was just, jeez, that was great. And talk about an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. William Money. He just went. His pig farm was failing, and he was just like, they cut up the whores. We're going for the reward. But he was a killer back in the day, and he just went for the reward. And what a great movie, The Unforgiven.
I haven't seen that one in a long time. I need to see that one.
Yeah. Did you ever watch any Western? What are your favorite Western?
So I watched Gunsmoke and then Bonanza as well.
Yeah, Bonanza.
And now I'm trying to think. So growing up, like, we didn't really have cable.
Right.
But
probably
we
got the Wild Wild West with James Conrad. Wasn't that pretty cool?
Yeah. My dad would have like TV Land on because like somehow that was a channel. Oh, thank you. That was a channel that we would get.
Yeah.
So you probably had like some old school ones like Laramie, High Chaparral, Tales of Wells Fargo. I mean, Western was big back in like kind of like 50, 60, 70 era. There was a lot of interest in that. And then it sort of made a comeback in today's, TV viewing with Yellowstone.
series like that. But I like it how they paint it more realistic, like the old Friendly West and the sitcom TV shows like our parents used to watch and stuff. But then now you look at the one, it's like they show up more realistic, like horse shit all over the streets and mud, and that's the way it really was. And saloon girls, and you think they didn't have any flushing toilets and that, so there's like outhouses.
Oh yeah.
This is like horse stables. That was your transportation, and buggy, and then railroad came, and fighting. The Indians, I guess you could say, or the Native Americans, and the different tribes and sects. And, wow, must have been a wild time.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I love history, and I like them bringing in the realistic.
Yeah, they made like heroes out of like Billy the Kid, and just like the Wyatt Earp, and the James gang, Jesse James and all that, they're robbing the banks, and they're just robbing banks, and like Robin Hood and giving to the, everybody would protect them. They're like, hey, you robbed this bank, and
we'll help
just
you.
give us the money, and it just became something like that. And then Wells Fargo came out, and Pinkerton Detectives.
There's your anti-heroes.
Yeah, so I tell you about crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Anything else we're supposed to do? I know we had a nice thing planned, and we got rain delayed.
That's all right. We got rain delayed, but
Yep.
it's all good. I love watching a good storm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was some nice lightning, some
Yeah,
good thunderclaps.
and that was funny. It was like you were talking about, let's play Thunderstruck, and we were talking about the Thunderstruck drinking game. Woohoo!
That would be fun.
So what it is for the audience is everyone just lines up in a circle. You play AC/DC Thunderstruck, and every time the word thunder comes up, somebody has to drink until thunder comes up again, and then the next person drinks. And inevitably, a few people are going to get stuck throughout the course of the song during a solo, and it makes it for a great game.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Great drinking game.
So much fun.
It is. So that's a recommendation. So AC/DC is the anti-hero.
Yes. A little bit.
Thunderstruck. It looks like it stopped raining in the thing.
I think so.
Right.
All right, lightning round. I think, am I off?
All right.
Oh, okay.
What we got to do?
They're coming in a little bit, but this is a lightning round. More different anti-heroes.
Okay.
Oh, let's see. Oh, Uma Thurman's character in Kill Bill.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I like that movie. Han Solo.
Han Solo, right? Dirty Harry. Huck
Hannibal.
Finn. Hannibal, there you go.
Dexter.
That's your dude.
Patrick Bateman. I brought this up earlier to somebody.
Uh-huh.
From American Psycho.
Yeah, that's a good one. The Godfather. I don't know about that. The Godfather. So maybe Henry Hill from all that. Well, thank you. Interesting conversation.
Thank you, for
Got
sure.
it.
Always good to talk to you.
Always. Congratulations on kicking some ass on your final.
Thank you.
Where's that?
All right.
She's always kicking ass.
Thank
Everything
you.
she does.
Well, I'll leave you with Cool Guy
Good
Rye
job.
for your topic.
Right.
Oh, a title I barely deserve.
Oh, you deserve it. Very cool. All right, you guys have fun.
Hey.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey,
Scotty
hey,
Too Hottie,
happy
how you doing?
Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. Loving that button, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so, it was funny because me and John were talking about it, and they wanted us to talk about things. Look what we come up with. This is like my wild card favorite anti-hero of all time.
Walter White.
Walter White.
Fucking
dude.
love that.
And Cartman, too, but Walter White.
Yeah. Cartman versus Walter White.
Yeah. So I got to take a nod. I have to go with Walter White, but Cartman is just cartoon versus real life character. My God, was Walter White. Seen that show? I heard about it. I didn't watch it right away, but when I picked up on it, I did the Better Call Saul after that. I love that Mike guy.
I got a lot of watching. I got to be honest, and this is a bad thing. I've got a lot of watching to do on that.
Yeah.
But because I started when it first came out. Like I saw the first few episodes. You know, when he's standing there in his undies with that gun, you know, and he puts the gun in his mouth, and I'm like, oh shit, this is fucking insane. But it got to the point where, you know, I was out of Netflix for a while, and I'm like, I got to find a good time to get back into it.
Right, and it's definitely worth it to go through it. You know, just in case anybody doesn't know, you know, most people do know, but Walter White, it's called Breaking Bad, the series. So this guy was a school teacher with a family. Found out he was diagnosed with cancer about age 50. He wanted to provide for his family. And, you know, he got short-cheated on a big deal by his friend and his ex-lover. And he was a chemist, too pure, so he just figured he was dying. He went all out. He found some bum kid he used to, you know, they were druggy. He used to teach and expelled and threw out of school because he was a bum. And they got involved, and he started...
in the meth trade.
He got out. Purest crystal meth, and they rose right to the top. And for all the right reasons, he was just trying to provide for his family and cash out like a champ. But then it just got out of hand, and he found out he wasn't really sick, and then everybody was in on it, and it exploded into a very popular series. And what you can't help but root for the guy. His reasons were right.
Exactly,
Then he had to make decision after decision after decision that was just so wrong, and it got himself so deep into a hole that there was like no crawling out of it.
But that's like the total story of the Antihero. So it's that slow descent of every Antihero has a positive emotion they're seeking to fulfill.
That's
you
why,
know?
You know what I mean? Like I even like
protect my family. I have to do this.
Right. He was just
I have
to ball out like a champ. That's why I wrote on this. You know, just everybody can see, like, you know, and Walter White. That was that guy right there.
Oh,
like Better Call Saul and.
Like he's trying to fulfill a good ends, but the way he gets there, it's a slow and steady degradation of the human soul.
And then after the point, it got to the point of no return. And, you know, it got really bad, and still, on the way out, they were all trying to do good somehow. You know, but it's, as weird as it was, that's like the antithesis of Antihero.
Just echoes that everyone's the hero of their own story. And you know, even the villains. And what they're really trying to do is fulfill the same thing we're all trying to fulfill. You know, they're just like us. They just have a slightly skewed set of morals.
His days were numbered. He was going down swinging and he wanted to provide, and he had missed out on a big opportunity. Felt like a loser. My God. And then his brother-in-law was a cop. He
was trying to do right by his family and trying to seek justice, his personal justice, for what he feels like he deserves in this world. The work he put in, what he should get out of it.
Yeah, he had
but then Cartman's just all out for himself. I mean, he will achieve good ends, but for the most selfish means. He'll start like like an entire charity just so he can get like Taco Bell to not close.
Right, and that when he took the one, I just like the hippies. I told you, hippies, hippie fest. They're going to generate a lot of money. The hippies have no money. He goes, what is it going to take to run the hippies out of town? The biggest hippie fest. He goes, I just want a truck or something, and I want to play with it in front of Kyle. He can never, ever, ever have one.
Hey, Kyle, you like my truck?
He goes, how do we take him out? We take a bulldozer, run through the thing, and play Slayer. Hippies can't play. I'm like, geez, oh man, he has a good idea.
There's only one thing hippies can't stand.
Hippies.
Death metal.
We're going to go in there and play Slayer.
We're going to go in there, upload this Slayer CD.
Those intentions are good, but for his own selfish reasons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What a cartoon character!
And sometimes when he's right, he's just so right, but for such wrong reasons.
And then when he went to the future episode, the recent ones, and he married the Jewish gal, and then he had 3 Jewish kids, and they're like, fuck you, Uncle Kyle. It's just like, my God, it's just this funny.
It's all about Kyle. It's all about this nemesis that there's no rhyme or reason to the fucking madness.
You did this on purpose because you hate me. You married a Jewish gal and had 3 kids. He's like, no, Kyle. Good stuff and all that.
I love that.
Hell yeah, man. So let's get anything else you want to talk about? Or we'll get John
the beautiful story that is Walter White. I mean, that can't be expressed enough. Like how well done. Like I know they were talking about and then the idea of this movie came out. the director, the writer, he was like, like I got this movie in mind, but they're like, you can't tell this story in that short amount of time.
Yeah.
Like this takes seasons to.
Right.
No one fucking,
and then
it turns this bad in an hour and like so many minutes.
Yeah,
so you gotta
launch,
slowly.
so they had to like milk the story a little bit more and all that. That was like perfect.
Transition?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You got the top.
Fuck you, Kyle.
Yeah, fuck you, Kyle.
Fuck you,
about
Kyle.
5 minutes here. You guys get 5
That's
minutes.
okay. Whenever John's
All right.
ready to scooch in, and then we're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was like, but if you get a chance to finish it, finish up with Better Call Saul. They like intercede each other. You'll feel you'll feel the timeline on it all. But
the actors on that show too, especially Saul, like with what's his name again from SNL?
Yeah, right.
Why is that escaping me?
Yeah.
Shit.
But like I say, just like the characters that come into play and all that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to get into John. Make sure you bring up when John comes out, Tulsa King, because that's with Sylvester Stallone. 2 seasons of it. And,
Wait, he's gonna.
I don't know if you've seen that, but he just watched it recently, and I was like, yeah, I've seen it. It was fantastic, and he's like, an anti-hero.
All right.
Plays a mob from New York. They kick him out to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Because after he did his prison stint, he didn't snitch, and he just went out to Oklahoma. Was like, fucking, I'm taking over everything.
Fuck yeah.
And it just goes from there, So.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that's another good one. And, so many actually good subject,
Yeah, I like this. I like the. Gotta say, if I could choose between being one of the two of them, definitely. I mean, Walter White. The way his soul falls apart, though, you kind of feel for him, Like, he had such good intentions.
Yeah, but
he didn't want to see it happen, but it also takes someone who's willing to sacrifice little. No one ever sells their soul all at once. It's always sold in pieces.
I mean, I know it's like cartoon versus real world, but, Walter White, with the people he destroyed, like creating his drugs and, the irreparable damage it did on the streets and the families and, that's the kind of thing, the side consequence of it. Whereas Cartman,
it's easy to do it because
Cartman's
you have
side
to.
consequences are cartoonish and everything.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, get in here real quick.
Yeah,
We're talking
come
about
here.
some anti-heroes.
Yeah.
Go easy. Hey, Snoop Jim
Walter
Jim,
White
what's
versus
happening?
Cartman. What do you think?
We're talking anti-heroes. First off, what's your favorite anti-hero?
My favorite
out there?
anti-hero of all time has got to be the Punisher.
Nice.
Got to be the
Oh,
Punisher.
yeah.
That's what we were talking about.
Man,
Very true.
what?
Very
Very
true.
good. He
Like
has the-
purest anti-hero.
He has the best backstory
Hey.
of all time when it comes to being an anti-hero. What?
Dude,
Yeah.
that is a
I
good one.
mean, you wake up one day to your own brothers ending your family, and then what? What happens next?
Yeah.
You kill everybody that did you wrong. He's the best version of an anti-hero ever explained.
So we were debating right here about this one.
Yeah.
We came up with Walter White from Breaking Bad. You ever see Breaking Bad?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and then Cartman.
I think Cartman's winning in a fight. I'll give you that one.
Wait.
I think so.
Well,
he,
yeah,
he fed somebody his own parents in a chili eating
That's right.
contest.
Yeah.
That
Walter
was
White.
good.
Walter White assassinated
Tenorman.
a kid with nutmeg. Come on now.
Hey, you're telling me Cartman's appetite couldn't stand up to that? He would know. Hey, come on, he'd outthink him.
For sure.
In a heartbeat.
For sure. Cartman's he's too obsessed when it comes to getting payback.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on top of that, I'm not, but Cartman is. He's racist. so give him that one. But I gotta head him out of here, boys. It was
Hey,
nice,
stop it.
nice getting a
Great
little,
to see you.
Yeah.
a little showdown.
Glad to see you kicking
Shout
and
out.
feeling much better,
Oh,
man.
of course,
Keep up
brother.
the great work.
Hey,
Slim
number
Jim
one
Tip,
podcast
everybody.
in the city, man,
Oh, thank you.
All love,
You
brothers.
mean the world, right?
in the universe.
Yeah, right on, man.
Slim Jim
Hey, you
Tip.
got him. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll see you.
Got it, bud.
Alrighty, I
It's
think
always good to get
I think
kicked
our
back
5
on
minutes
that.
might be
Yeah,
up.
yeah, John's ready. He's already debating anti-hero.
Johnny boy.
In the back of the background. I'll pass him off.
Come on over.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, we got to talk a little bit of a little discussion John and I got to have about a couple of famous, actually, one famous person versus a whole group of them.
I'm fucking famous.
Fuck yeah, you are, man. But which of these two famous are you? Oh, don't let it time out. So you Team Thanos or Team Dictators?
Okay.
Go Cavs, yes. So it looks like I'm taking the side of dictators. Shit.
See, this is the thing, is I don't think Thanos is an anti-hero. He's just straight up a villain. He's straight up a villain.
So we're talking about Mao Zedong and the Great Leap Forward. So the Great Leap of Mao and the Communist Revolution in China. Hey, I mean, you know, if you're going towards Thanos kind of ideal, then I guess you're hitting some Maoist stuff here.
That's what I'm saying. Thanos, to me, is a straight villain.
Yeah. But Thanos had, I mean, if we're going by, what, comics, or are we going by Marvel Universe?
Like a Marvel Universe. Okay, so right there, German guy. So one of the things that, one of the reasons someone brought up to me recently and said, well, Thanos is kind of an anti-hero because he wiped out part of humanity for population control, but he did it because he believed in it. And you know what I said? So did Hitler.
Yeah.
He killed a bunch of people.
He killed a certain kind of people.
Yeah, exactly. He killed certain people, but then kept others. But, I mean...
Thanos. I mean, well, okay, so I guess I'm supposed to take sides here. So if I got to defend the dictators, so it comes down to the fact that the dictators have a kind of a mindset in play, you know? And, you know, the dictators, they're going to choose someone, they're going to make a more decisive choice over who they're eliminating. Whereas Thanos is kind of going indiscriminate snap. It was a random snap. And it was completely random, I guess. So
yeah, but still, it's one of those like.
And I resent having to take the side of the dictators. Well, eugenics is not a.
Well, also
is not supported by science.
Mao Zedong and the Great Leap Forward, like you have, you know what all that shit is?
A little bit, not very much. Mao, you know, Communist Revolution and taking over China. Okay. Great Leap Forward. I mean, China has done a lot of things, good and bad. And when it comes to a society going forward, a communist society is able to achieve things very quickly, but not very efficiently for the most part. And that's my bias as an American. You know, coming from you know, more Soviets of the bad example of communism. And China is more of the, you know, neutral bad. Like they're not great. I mean you're gonna get fucking executed as a if you rob somebody, like someone coming to view China. Like if you're a taxi driver and you rob some Americans who are in your cab, they're gonna execute you. Like just put you into prison and kill you.
Yeah.
But if you you know, if you're talking about developing cities and stuff, and like. They're not doing half bad with that. I mean, they're able to see a trajectory in society and kind of guide it that way. But at the same time, you're not allowed to look up the word freedom in your Google search.
All right, so this is something that could be interesting. When I talk about the Great Chinese Famine,
yeah,
while exporting food, That's straight villain. That is some
straight villain.
That's
so
villain.
Wait, all right. So, are you bettering the future of your nation to sacrifice?
Financially?
Yeah, financially to sacrifice in the short term. Yes, you are. But at that point, you got to not view people as people. You got to be cold as fuck.
So you're saying like, okay, so in the short term, this will suck for everyone. People may die. Of hunger,
will die.
But in the long run, it'll be better. I say that's straight fucking villain.
So here's some very secondhand bullshit I heard, third hand, I'd say. Like, so, hey, we got Tiff coming in hot, Tiff.
Yep, I'm gonna say what I always say. If you don't watch this podcast, then fuck you.
Yeah, you heard it.
Yep.
Heard it here first.
I don't really know what to do. Sorry, guys. I
don't know what to do with my hands.
What's your favorite anti-hero?
She already said that.
Yeah, it's me.
Oh. Cheers, Tiff. Best anti-hero on the show.
Yep.
Cheers.
Remember, better than poison oak. Oh, better than poison ivy. I am poison oak.
All right, thanks.
Bye, butts.
See ya.
Thanks, Tiff.
That's what. Okay, so like, having well, that plenty of people die now, and the future will be better. No, that's straight villainous. That's straight greed. That's straight villainous.
Yeah, I mean, the future is kind of
bleak.
It's only just the future is just an imagination. What's here and now is real. You know, you support now. That's a long-term goal. I mean, if you have to sacrifice a few, I get that, but that's something you do when it's like you're faced with certain death for everyone. You only sacrifice a few when the fate of your entire population is at stake, and that was not the case. I mean, it's definitely that was a villainous thing. I talked myself into it.
See, I like how
I talked myself into a little bit of a corner here.
I'm supposed to be on Thanos' side, but I'm not. But I'm also not on the Dictator side either.
I'm more on the Thanos side because, I mean, if you have to eliminate people to save a whole, you got to do it impartially.
Okay. If it came down to Thanos or a Hitler, I'm probably going to take Thanos, maybe.
You know what? I've been reading a lot of World War II history. The more I get into it, Hitler, I don't like the guy so much.
You ever heard of this Hitler guy? Yeah, he fucking sucks.
I don't know. I read into him. Might be a hot take here, but not a big fan.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. Changing the word up. You ever seen Hitler by himself? Not for me.
Hitler, I can only deal with him in small doses.
Very small and dead doses.
Small doses, like a dosage of ricin poison.
So explain to me, what the fuck is eugenics?
So eugenics is the selection genetically. So say I want to have a superior dog. I'm going to pick dogs with the most musculature.
My buddy A1 Sauce. Call him A1 Sauce.
Yeah?
Keep the name off. A1 Sauce, what up?
What's up, A1? So, eugenics is selecting for the best and brightest. So say, we actually were doing this here in the United States earlier. We were sterilizing people against their will. People who were mentally handicapped. People who were different, minority races.
So flat out they couldn't reproduce.
Oh, yeah. They would go in for a doctor's appointment. They would sterilize them without their consent or knowledge sometimes. And, so they were selecting for things they had no clue of. And it was things like they were sexually promiscuous, probably because they were being physically abused at home. It had nothing to do with an actual, scalable identity of their traits. And what it came down to is they're selecting for something.
Show soon?
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
I'll go find the people.
And thought with eugenics is that in eugenics, it narrows down the genetic variety or variability within a population, and the most successful species have a broad genetic variability. So the more you narrow that, the more you reduce a population's potential. So if you let nature dictate, success, that normally, under most circumstances, comes out to have the best result because nature will always throw something at you. Say you select for only strong people.
Like horse breeding.
Yeah. Let's say those strong people also have a gene connected to their musculature enhancement that also causes them to be hypersensitive to a certain disease. That means that you've homogenized the genetic variability of an entire group, and one single event can wipe everybody out.
So literally, if someone has a specific immunity to certain diseases or something like that, but if they're have some kind of handicap or something, and people are like, nope, we cannot have these people reproduce.
Well, the thing
is, you are lessening the ability for the medical research to...
You're lessening the chaos factor. So genetics is all about chaos, forming itself into an orderly fashion. So it's a bunch of mistakes, and somewhere in the mistakes you find a golden opportunity to be better. But if you sit there and you prune it out, you think you know better than the universe.
You might be
And
pruning out the good genes.
You could be pruning out potential.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I think we got to have a little wrap-up sesh here.
A1 sauce.
Last word
What up,
for
though?
everybody?
Bajo. Tripping. Tripping.
A1 sauce.
Yeah,
Yep,
right back
tripping.
at you, A1 Sauce.
Thanks for tuning in, A1 Sauce. I think we're going to get the last words here.
Absolutely.
Last word on the phone, gentlemen. Last word on the show, gentlemen.
Don't be swilling like a villain. Anti-chillin', be a hero, not a dope. Be kind to one another. Love yous all. Peace out.
Hitler, not a big fan.
It's me. Hi. Hope I'm not the problem. Still scrambled from finals, but happy to be here.
In the war between paper clips and staples, we all need a hero. Mercury Maniacs, we're not Brainiacs. Now featuring the Brain Trust. We only got through half the show, so tune in next week for the other half. Hey, yo.
Drop Sunners, not drugs. Raise hell, praise Dale.
Press the button, press the button.
Yep, go hit the button.